fellowships, publishing something, being involved with film production, public or civic service at the federal, state, or municipal level, advising or investing in startups, leadership roles in professional associations and clubs, speaking at or organizing idea forums, festivals, and conferences. I'll add to this now, volunteering, just giving of your time in areas that interest you, that again have some connection to your head and heart. And when you do that, let me tell you what happens. It will diversify your perspective, it will diversify your purpose, and it will feed into what you're currently doing. If you're growing outside of your current profession, I'm telling you, you're growing in all facets. And the idea here that you can only advance in your professional career by just doing a really good job and putting all of your focus into your current position is short-sighted. Because remember, you're learning new things, you're doing new things, and you're connecting with new people. This is, in fact, the proximity principle. In my book, The Proximity Principle, I wrote about this. That getting in proximity to the right people in the right places allows you to learn, do, and connect. You want to talk about 3 vital actions that if you can do on a daily basis, guarantee your continued growth and advancement. It's learning something, doing something with what you've learned, and connecting in that process. So what can be some strategic side gigs? Doesn't have to be a business here. Get what these authors are saying. It's just a side activity that is strategic in that you are learning something that is relevant to you and your future. You're doing something that is relevant to you and your future, and you're connecting with people that are relevant to you and your future. This is a tremendous, tremendous strategy. Now, one last point here. Well, Ken, I'm really busy. How do I find the time to do that? Something else is going to have to be sacrificed. But come up with a rhythm. Look at your week. Is it 5% of your time, 10%, 15%? Is it 20? I don't know. I don't know your situation. But something else will have to go. And I think it's going to make you a better professional woman, professional man. If you really think about, how can I spend my side time strategically? Think about it and do it. 844-747-2577 is the number. 844-747-2577. Let me brag on Madison for a moment because she actually embodies this article. She's obviously in broadcasting. She comes out of college. She goes to work for a nationally syndicated radio show, and she does everything. And she kind of just, I mean, she's like, what? How old were you? 21 when you started in radio? 20. Okay, senior college. So you start and you really, you're screening calls, you're doing all the, just the basic stuff. And then we hire her. And so she steps up in responsibility, and she's done a fantastic job. But the entire time that she's been on board here, she's also been doing a strategic side gig. And that is, I'm going to call it sports reporting, local high school sports, where you'll go out, you'll cover whether it be a football game or a volleyball match or softball game or whatever, high school sports. And it's not a lot of money.
No, but it's a little bit of a side hustle, and I enjoy sports, and it keeps me
That's right.
Writing, which I enjoy doing.
There you go. So you are the perfect example of this in that it's making you better, and you're growing because you're still writing, because you're not doing a lot of writing for us right now. And in your current role, you have way more responsibility than that. But it keeps you relevant in the skill that you want to continue to massage, and that's going to come into play in the future. I promise you. And I'm proud of you.
Thank you.
Wanted to call that out. No, I'm serious. That's what you're doing. You don't have to do that. It's not a labor of money. It's a labor of love. She really enjoys it, and it keeps her sharp in an area that she wouldn't be engaged in if she were just solely focused on the gig here at the office. So
not a lot of sports to write about right now, but hoping to get back into it.
I know. We do like our sports talk. So there are times, I'm just going to warn you folks, if you're new to the program, where Madison and I and Joe will just do a little sports talk. Why? Because we like sports. And so give us a little grace. We don't do it for very long. That's the good news. So for the sports fans, they go, oh, this is good. We didn't jump in here. And then we stop because that's not why you're here. You know why you're here? Is you want to talk. You want to learn. And the way we do that is 844-747-2577. Let's go to, is it Elisa or Alyssa? I never know. It is Elisa in Denver, Colorado. Elisa, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken.
Hi.
So I am 32 years old. I have been in the same career for 6 years. I make $75,000 a year, which is pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a college graduate. And currently I am feeling some burnout, and I don't know if I should start over or if I should hone my craft a little bit better.
Yeah.
Because the income potential is astronomical, and I kind of feel like I'm just kind of doing it mediocre.
Yeah. Well, I love that you're being vulnerable about this. And I think the question before you today that I got to help you with is, do I start over or do I just reset? And I love that you have talked about the fact that you feel burned out, and you're not burned out. Are we having a mic problem? I'm popping in and out. Are we good? Just want to make sure over the airways we're good.
Okay. I can hear you fine.
Okay, great. Because I'm having a lot of in and out in my ears. So if this continues to happen, I'm going to drop one of the ears and go. But anyway, sorry, Elisa. This happens in live broadcasting. So the question is, what's causing the feeling of being burned out? Because burnout is not an actual thing. Burnout, meaning that it's not the cause of what's going on. Burnout is a symptom, okay? And so it's just what we call burned out. The feelings are very real that you're experiencing. There are 5 causes of buildup on the heart which make you feel burned out, Elisa. And I don't know if you've heard me talk about these. I'm going to roll through these real quick, and I want you to identify which ones you're experiencing, okay?
Okay.
All right, here we go. The first one is no passion for the work, just no connection to the work at all. The second is you are in a toxic environment, either toxic teammates or a toxic leader. The third is you're just overwhelmed. You feel like when you pull into the parking lot, you're already starting to drown, okay? And then the fourth factor, the cause of buildup on the heart, is that you feel underappreciated, not recognized, or rewarded. And then the fifth cause is you're bored out of your mind. You've long since, conquered the day-to-day and you're bored. You need a new challenge. What of those 5 are you experiencing?
And none of those. So I guess I'm not feeling burnout.
So tell me what's going on.
Well, I'm having to work during the COVID stuff. I'm having to work harder than I've ever had to. The job has been fairly easy. I'm an outside sales professional. My job is to call on people, and I've always done that to some capacity. But right now I'm having to do it, a million times more, and I'm getting a fraction of the result. And so maybe it is kind of like an overwhelm thing. Like, no,
it's 100%. Really it's 100% what it is. So you are experiencing, you're overwhelmed right now. It's just you're just physically and emotionally about empty. Your tank's about empty because you've been going at an unsustainable pace. Isn't that correct?
Okay. Well, I'm also doing that rather mediocre. I could do that more, but, my return on my investment is not showing to be very profitable at the moment. And I know that I'm laying the groundwork now for the things that will come later.
You know what?
That will be fine.
You know what? So I think it's discouragement. I think you're discouraged because you're working more, but you're seeing less ROI.
Right. Sure.
That's really the issue.
Okay.
Am I right or am I wrong? You tell me.
It sounds right, but it's just like, gosh.
Okay.
Could I have done more?
Well,
had I done something different?
Well, I think that's the exercise right now. So because you like the work under normal circumstances, yes or no?
Yes.
You really
love it.
Yeah, you love it. And you're good at it. We know that. I don't even have to ask you that, but let's walk through the checklist. Talent, do you have the chops? Are you good at it?
I think so.
Yeah, you are. Come on. That's silly. Come on. All right. Now, so the question is the results of the work. And right now, that's the challenge. You're discouraged because you don't think the results are where they should be. And so I think some self-examination is something that you should do. And I think that's a good thing. And so I don't know if the answer is completely just you put more time in right now. But I would like you to truly run down the path of efficiency. Am I being as efficient as I could be? Because if I was, would I be calling Ken right now with this problem? because you love the work. And what is that future that you said the income could be really good? What is that?
Yeah, there's no cap on it's a commission base in addition to a salary, so there's no cap. If I sell $1 million a year, then I have $100,000 of commission in my pocket, not counting my salary.
Yeah, so
essentially, I could be sitting at $150K a year.
Yeah,
and I know that I would feel differently if that's what. I'm at 75 now. I just have to, double the work. But
I don't know. I don't know if it's double the work. I think you've actually identified
it's not double the work. It's double the sales numbers.
There we go.
Not double the work.
No, I know. And what I'm saying is, I don't like to say this. In fact, I've never said this, but it's your words, not mine. But I think you've got to take your application and your output from mediocre to really fantastic. And what is that? What needs to change? What needs to be true for you to have better effort? Mediocre is what you said you've been doing, and you can do better. You've kind of just outed yourself on that. And I think you're absolutely right. And I think you kind of double down and go, how can I do this better? Is there a book or a podcast, or is there somebody that is really winning in the organization that I can get on the phone with and go, tell me your best practices? I just think it's a wholesale taking inventory of what you're doing, how you're doing it, what's working, what's not working. And I think you're going to come out of this thing and reset. I think it's a reset, not start over.
Okay. So more education, like you were saying a minute ago.
Yeah.
More education, just honing in on my craft, and then just roll with it and work hard. And
but I think there's one other item I'd tell you, and I think you touched on it yourself. I think you need to get in your mind a real reasonable number, but a stretch number. And just imagine what life would be like if you made 125 next year. That's a wildly powerful exercise. You can't believe what that'll do for you when you say, okay, if I were to make 125, and I'm just picked an arbitrary number, but if I made that next year, how would my life be different? Soak in that for a couple nights with a glass of wine. You'd be surprised what that'll do for you, Lisa. You know what I'm saying? So I just think it's twofold. I think you assess your techniques and your output and your activity and all that right now, and let's make that better. What can be better? What needs to be true for me to be better? And then I think I would refocus my goals and my vision on a really desirable future. And that is a 1-2 punch for anybody in any industry that's selling something. 844-747-2577. Centerville, Utah is where Paul is. Paul, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Ken. Thanks for taking my call.
You bet. How can I help?
So at the end of the day, I'm about to be unemployed. I'm getting laid off.
I'm sorry about that.
COVID-19. Yeah. My problem is, finding a job is proving more difficult now than I ever thought it would be. And I don't know if it's a combination. I don't know if it's because of the COVID-19 or the fact that I've jumped around from job to job so many times, or both. But I've just tried so many different types of jobs, trying to figure out what I enjoy and what I'm good at. And I keep coming back to warehouse work, but it's not something I enjoy, mostly because I know stuff about it.
Yeah.
But I'm having a hard time just getting interviews right now, even for those kind of jobs.
Well,
I'm just wondering where to go.
Yeah, let me encourage you on something that this is more of a COVID-19 contraction of jobs than it is you and your work history. Okay. Now, I'm not saying that your work history or, how you're presenting in the interviews or whatever you've done to this point before you called me, I'm not saying that's not a factor. It certainly can be and might be. However, we went from, at the end of February, 3.5% unemployment to now they're projecting numbers in the 14%. Okay, we're talking about in the end of February, Paul, there were more jobs available than people were unemployed. Now all of a sudden that's contracted. So let me tell you what I think needs to happen for you, because you're being laid off today. We need a short-term strategy, and I want to talk more about that on this phone call. And you've been listening to my program enough to know what your long-term strategy is built on, correct? You know how to figure out your sweet spot. You know my exercise and the methodology, yes or no?
Yeah, it's getting involved with those who are doing what you're interested in doing.
Right. So I want to touch on that in a moment, but let's focus on short term right now. What have you been making up to this point? What's your salary or hourly wage? What have you been making?
Recently, I've been making $14.39 an hour.
Okay, so that becomes our goal, right? If I had a whiteboard in your room right now where you're calling me from, and we were sitting down at a kitchen table talking through this, I'd go, okay, let's just circle $15 an hour, just to make it simple. Okay, that's the number we need to achieve. All right, and we can achieve that one of two ways. We can achieve that with another full-time job that's paying you $15 an hour, or in the short term, and that's the key here, Paul, to understand I'm talking short term so that we keep you stable right now. Maybe that's two jobs, and one job's paying you $12 an hour, but maybe another's paying you $20 an hour, and it's less hours. The point is we average out and we get to $15 an hour. You get where I'm going, correct?
Mm-hmm.
All right. Those jobs are available in Utah. I'm telling you they are. I mean, if you're delivering pizzas for 6 weeks, fine. If you're delivering pizzas or you're driving for Amazon for 6 weeks to 8 weeks or 10 weeks, whatever it is, that's fine. If you are working in a warehouse, you don't enjoy it, but you do have some experience at it and you can come in right away and be an asset. Yes or no?
Yes.
So I want you to get the short-term job right now. Let's go get that. And that's going to keep you in a place of not just financial stability, but emotional stability. You're going to feel pretty crappy about yourself if 10 weeks from now you're on unemployment and you don't have any prospects. You're just going to. And that's not necessary. You don't need to do that. That's choosing to really accept that. When you can get out there and work right now, whether it's driving a car, stocking shelves at a grocery store, let me tell you something, man. There are some industries that are booming right now. Even if you got to go work for a tradesman, you know? So you do whatever you got to do right now to get to that $15 an hour situation. That you can do. Do you agree with me, Paul?
Yes. I just have a concern, though.
What's your concern?
I'm also going to school, and a lot of these warehouse jobs I'm seeing all require overtime, and that just doesn't work with school.
What are you doing? What kind of school?
Studying. I'm going to school part-time, but I'm studying, thinking about studying marketing.
Marketing? And then so the long-term goal is you would love to be some type of marketing professional.
Mm-hmm.
Great. You know, Paul, what happens if you say, well, I can't take this job, I can't take this job, I can't take this job because I go into school part-time? What happens if you don't have any money coming in? How does that affect part-time school?
Well, no job, no school, but
No.
all the time, I can't do school either.
Hold on. Yes, you can. You can. You may have to press pause on school. I'm not saying you have to. I just think you've already concocted this narrative in your mind that, well, if I go out and just hustle right now and I go work in a warehouse, I'm not going to be able to go to school part-time. I'm not sure I actually agree with that. If you've got to work some overtime a little bit each week, fine. But if it's online school, is it online or are you going into physical classes?
It's going to be a combination of both.
Again, why don't you examine what it would take? Okay. So if I am working 1 week, 50 hours a week, how would that affect my online schooling? Why don't you run that scenario out? Have you actually run that exercise out?
I've looked at different options. If it's an online course, it shouldn't be a problem. But if it's an in-class course,
that's my point.
Yeah,
Paul,
yeah, it would be difficult.
Take the online classes, man. You got to survive. You said it yourself. Our discussion is essentially over when you just admitted, if I'm not working, there's no school. And if there's no school, I've slowed down my ultimate vision. So, Paul, you do what you have to do now so that you can do what you want to do later. It's that simple. We are in a wacky, crazy time. You need to adjust. So go do what you need to do right now in the short term, do the online classes, and then you're looking for more permanent work. Or you can work for a company that has marketing positions or do something, and I don't even care if you don't like it. You're on the path to doing what you ultimately want to do, so just do what it takes to stay on the path. I'll remind you folks that I sold sponsorships to live events while I was pursuing radio and broadcasting. I didn't love it. Didn't matter. It was the day job that was funding the dream job. Do what you have to do now so you can do what you want to do later. Come on, folks. You got this. It's not hard to figure out. This isn't some funky math I'm pitching. It makes sense. By the way, Paul needs this. A lot of people that are listening to this, are watching right now, need these resources. Our Get Hired guides are free. What are the Get Hired guides? They're free downloadable PDFs that walk you through how to do your resume, and then we give you a template. So you plug and play. How to flip your resume so it looks different than everybody else's, but really, how do you make sure that you are leveraging your connections to get you the interview? A resume is worthless without a relationship. So we walk through all of that in the resume guide. The second is the Win the Interview guide, preparing for the interview so that you perform well. And the third is the interview follow-up guide. We call it the touch point timeline. How do you follow up the right way? When do you follow up? And that is an effective way to close the deal if you are in a tight competition, and many of you will be. So all three Get Hired guides, absolutely free, kencoleman.com. Go get them right now. All right, to the chat room we go. Candy writes in, Ken, thank you for the proximity principle. I'm using it to transition right now. Really good recommendations. Thank you, Candy. I appreciate that. By the way, I'll just mention it. The proximity principle, we slash prices right now because we want as many people as possible to get the information. Okay, when you hear these prices, we're not making money on this, all right? But this is helping you, and so I'm all for it. $10 for the hard copy, that's cheaper than Amazon, okay? $8 for the ebook, and $3.99 for the audiobook at kencoleman.com. Go get them. All right, Joshua writes in, how do I push past some limiting beliefs I have? I try to discover my top talents, and I always stop with doubts, and I change my mind about what I want to do. I've been doing that for 11 years, and I'm discouraged. Oh, Joshua, would you please, I'm begging you to call the show right now. Right now. If you just sent this in and you're watching, I want you to call right now. And Madison, if Joshua calls, let's push Joshua to the top. This is why I do the show. I can't give you specific advice because I don't know what you're doubting. But I can tell you the answer to your freedom from doubt and discouragement is getting to the source of the doubt. Because you nailed it. You've been doing this for 11 years and you know what the limiting beliefs are. I need to know what they are and where they come from. But doubt's the big thing. And that doubt is clouding your clarity. You start the process that I've taught. You don't need me to tell you what the process is. You already know it. You need to call me, 844-747-2577. If you don't call me, then go to somebody who you trust, maybe a counselor, a professional counselor, and talk about the doubt. Or talk to a close friend or family member who you appreciate for their wisdom and their honesty, and tell them, this is what's going on. I have all these doubts and it's causing me to flounder for 11 years. Help me see the truth because doubt's a liar, but this is what doubt's telling me. I need you to help me get clear if you don't trust me. But call me and I can identify with you what the doubt is. And when we get victory over that, then my process of getting clear, which is identifying what you do best, passion, what you love to do most, your mission, the results that matter most to you, and how those intersect in the marketplace. That's your sweet spot. Well, you can do that without me once you get clear on the lie that doubt's telling you. So that's what has to happen. Nathan, how do I find a literary agent? I'm a 19-year-old aspiring novelist and business owner. I was supposed to go to the book expo in New York City to find an agent, but it was canceled due to COVID. Well, so one of the answers is whenever that expo gets back online and does their thing, go back. In the meantime, connect with those that run that expo, and I'd ask them, hey, did you have a pool of agents that were going to come to this event, and will you share that list? Can I contact them? Do your homework. Try to find some book agents that are based in your area and see if coffee, whenever they feel comfortable with this, or lunch is available. And so be doing some research to find the agent. But in the meantime, I'd write the novel. I wouldn't wait to connect with an agent. I'd really be creating this content now. And I think you can find the book agent that way. 844-747-2577. 844-747-2577. So I teased this at the top of the program. Some of you, we've already had one caller today getting laid off today. Some of you have faced some exits. You were pushed to the exit. Maybe you chose to exit your work. Maybe you chose to exit a relationship. Whatever your exit has been, or you feel it is a impending exit, it's gonna happen. I want to give you just a little thought, super simple, super quick, on how you need to view your exit. This is a mindset as I'm beginning to accept that I have to make an exit, or I have to accept the pain and the frustration that is attached to a recent exit. What's my mindset? I want you to view your exit not as an exit, but as an entrance to something else. Now, this isn't like some cute motivational mumbo jumbo. I really want you to get this. If you have the mindset that the exit out of this job, or exit out of this relationship, or exit out of this education plan that I thought was the right thing, it's not the right thing, there's all sorts of uncomfortableness and unpleasantness attached to an exit. There just is. But there's also a tremendous amount of excitement and opportunity to reset, to restart, to take on a new adventure. So there's also positives associated with the exit, and that's what I want you to focus on. I want you to view your exit as an entrance to the next opportunity, to the next thing. I'm exiting, and there's some yuck with that, but I'm also in the process of, as I exit, I am now entering into a new season. What's that new season? What do you want it to be? Shift pretty quickly from what you have exited from to what you want to enter into. Whew, that's good. I'm telling you, that's a game changer. You want to talk about a really strategic and powerful shift. That's it. I've just exited here, but now there's a lot of junk there. Going to deal with that, but I'm not going to focus on it. I'm focused on what I'm entering into, the new season of life. Oh, seasons are wonderful, aren't they, Joe? What's your favorite season of the year? Let's go around the control room.
Fall. Football.
Fall, okay.
Oh, yeah.
Madison? Yeah, Madison's a fall. Nathan? Summer. Okay, so the reason I do this is, mine is spring. The reason I just did this little call out is, think about the seasons, your favorite seasons of the normal year. Why is it your favorite season? All right, so you got that in your head. So let's think about that. When Joe exits the summer into the fall, Joe's not thinking about the summer. You're not really going, oh, it's so hot and humid in Tennessee, which it is.
Correct.
You know, you're not thinking about all that. You're going, oh, baby, we're entering the fall. You see the emotional exchange? Same thing. Both of you you answered fall in football. Madison essentially has no life. So she gets excited about the non-life that she's had and for 3 seasons of the year. And she goes, oh, my life is going to happen again in the fall, because her life revolves around Georgia football.
I'm a Southerner.
Somebody's going to take a shot at me for being mean to you, but I'm not being mean at all. I'm
Faith,
telling
family,
you the
and
truth.
football.
That's it. So she goes, hey, my life gets to begin again. All right? You know, Nathan's is the summer. He's thinking kids, the pool, vacation, the beach, whatever it is. So my point is that the same mentality we have when we get excited about a new season of the year, you should be excited about a new season of life. All right, just wanted to put a bow on that. That's really, really fun stuff, and I hope that helps you with your mindset. Let's go to the phones again, 844-747-2577. I'm a little disappointed that Joshua didn't call. Is he calling? Listen, this is real time. Let's see if this is Joshua. If not, we'll keep moving. Okay. This is a point that, Madison and I and Joe talk about a lot. Some of you are watching me right now. Like, this is all real time. I mean, this is just real. Is Ian back there? Good to see Ian. And you're going, I listen to the show and I've got a pain point. I've got something I need breakthrough on. And you could call right now, like right now. And Madison goes, what do you say, by the way? Oh, she's talking to somebody. Does she say, Joe, what does she say when you hear her answer the phone?
Thank you for calling the Ken Coleman Show.
Thank you for calling the Ken Coleman Show. Is that what you say? Oh, no. What do you say?
That sounds like you're ordering a burger and fries.
It does. Well, Joe does have the headset on. He can give you a combo, and he will gladly upsize it.
Chocolate shake?
What do you say to folks?
Ken Coleman Show, your first name?
Boom. It's that simple. 844-747-2577. And Madison is so nice. She's very pleasant. And she'll help you with your nerves, and she'll get you ready to talk. Why aren't you calling? Let me tell you who is calling. Bailey. Bailey's on the line in Minneapolis, Minnesota. Bailey, you're on the Ken Coleman Show.
Hi, Mr. Coleman. How's it going today?
I am fired up, Bailey, and I'm living the dream, and I'm talking to you right now. You are the most important thing on the planet right now. What's happening?
Well, I was actually laid off about 2 weeks ago. I was working as a legal recruiter.
Yeah.
And it I kind of saw it coming, but it did hit me a little bit as a surprise.
Yep.
And so my current situation, I'm working a temp job, so I have income.
Good for you. Way to go.
It's good. It's matching what I was, so we're good there.
Great.
I have that for about a month, so covered there. It's just that, I went crazy after I was let go. I think maybe about an hour after I was updating my resume and submitting job applications. I was like, nope, this isn't happening.
You are awesome. I love that.
So, and part of me, so now I have, I'm on a third round interview with this financial company, and it's kind of a salesy job. And then I have another opportunity with, kind of a legal assistant job. And I'm just not sure. I don't know what I want to do. I'm not sure if either of these are exactly what I want. And just not sure what to do going forward, or if I should maybe pause and not be so in the future already.
You're really smart. You are you have basically already classified everything that I would have asked you to think about. So now let's just dive in here. What's the long term? Had you not been laid off as a legal recruiter 2 weeks ago, what would the future be? What would you be thinking about in the future?
I wasn't sure that it was exactly what I wanted to be doing. I thought it was my dream job, if I was being honest. But, it was a little different. And the parts of it that I enjoyed was talking to people, helping people. I loved that part of it. Yeah. But there are certain, you have to meet certain billable numbers, and there's certain things. The sales side of it was a little trickier. So yeah. I'm just not sure if it's something I loved.
Okay. All right. So, that's all I needed to know on that. So now let's look at these two deals, because you're in the enviable situation in that you've got some temp work and you've got some stability right now. However, you're not going to want to stay for 3, 6, 9 months in this current situation. At some point, you're going to start to itch. Am I right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that's fair.
Yeah, I would think so. So my question is, and what you identified in this job you were laid off in 2 weeks ago is that you love the people side of it. You didn't like the performance side of it, the pressure of the numbers. That's not your natural jam. It's not your thing, but you loved serving and digging and connecting to help people. Yes?
Yes.
So my question is, this sales job, is that going to put you back in that angst area where you're just kind of like, ugh, that's just not me. That's what I want to know about the sales job. Or do you see it as an opportunity to go, wait a second, even though it's sales, it's not as high pressure, and I am helping people, and I am connecting and talking to people all the time, which I think you like.
Yeah.
So what is it? Tell me.
Yeah.
Is the sales job, what kind of sales job is it?
It would be essentially I would have to get licensed to be like a financial professional. And then I would be building my own book of business.
I don't hear that that's something that is a part of your future.
Yeah. I've been in the legal space for a while. I think I might prefer to stay in that, but I just, wasn't sure. When you feel flattered, you're like, oh, maybe.
Yes, 100%. You feel great because they want you. That makes you a human. But you and I let's cross that off the list. You know it and I know it. You just gave me the answer. It's not my advice.
Yeah.
You answered it. Say no to the sales gig, because you'll regret that. I heard what now? Let me ask you this: does the legal assistant role, is it pay more than you're making now?
Yeah, I think it would.
Do you have the natural talent, your hard skills, and then soft skills to really thrive in that legal assistant role?
I worked as a paralegal and legal assistant previously, so I have experience in that for sure.
Right, so you got it. You got the chops. And you know what I like about it? It pays you more than where you are now. And it keeps you in the legal field as you begin to feel your way through, okay, I kind of like the legal field, or do I like the legal field? But at least it keeps you relevant right now, and it's work you've done before, and it's a much better situation. And you know what? If 6 months from now, Bailey, you decide, this isn't for me, you're not a flake. You're not a weirdo for wanting to move on, and you should move on. So I think what we do is we take the best opportunity for stability in the short term, and I would take the legal assistant job because it's going to increase your experience, and it will also increase your connections. And if you confirm, and that's what you need to focus on next after getting stable and taking the job, I want you to really dive into my get clear exercise. What do I do best? What do I love to do most? And what results matter most? And is it the legal field I want to be in? And what role in the legal field? You confirm all of this. And that becomes step 2 right now. Step 1 is take the gig, get stable. Step 2 in this is clarify and verify based on what I just told you. And you keep listening to the show if you need the encouragement. And then you decide.
Gotcha.
Because I think it puts you in a better situation right now. Go ahead.
And lastly, I just want to say that I started reading the proximity principle back when I was a recruiter, and I used a lot of what you said in your book to kind of help my candidates. So.
Oh, great. Thank you. Well, I appreciate that. I really do. And listen, I'm really excited about your future. The reason, and I want you to know, you could stay in this temp role if you want to until you find something better. I just want to mention that is an okay option. It feels like I would take the more stable and higher pay in the field you were in. That's my favorite choice, but I trust you. You're smart. And so if you feel like you want to stay in the temp role and take your chances on that, keeping you afloat until you find the gig that you really want to go after, I'm fine with that too. I just want to make that clear. You've got some good options here. Okay?
Thank you so much.
You bet, Bailey. You're awesome. She is a rock star. Bailey is going to kill it. That young lady right there, she called in and she's been listening to the show. And she had already kind of walked through all the things. Makes my job a lot easier. Way to go, Bailey. All right. My time's almost up, but before I let you go, you matter and you do have what it takes, I promise. Thank you so much for joining the conversation. Until next time, this is the Ken Coleman Show. Press on.